had asked us to perform. We, both of us met a long time ago when I was still on active duty, doing STEM outreach for the Navy, and community projects for San Diego County and other counties throughout recruiting district San Diego from the U.S. Navy's area. He was doing stuff for 3 R's Robotics, the parent company of what we have here, going out and doing educational outreach, building robots, doing fun, cool projects, and teaching teachers how to implement this stuff in the classroom. In 2014, we had the first STEAM Maker Festival at the Del Mar Fairgrounds. And it was just an idea to come and showcase what STEM and STEAM is in the community, how to implement it, how easy it is to actually implement in the classroom and for the schools. Immediately after the festival, teachers would email us and say, hey, well, what's next? And at the time, we didn't have this, so we didn't have anything. We said, well, we just wanted to have a festival. There was nothing really else that we had on our agenda. And so me and Victor got together and said, hey, you know what? There should be a now what? So February of last year, got the keys to the empty building here, and over the course of about 2 months, and a couple of folks from the Home Depot parking lot built this place out. And all the design, all the creation, everything was built by us. Nothing was bought off the shelf. A few months after, we met Mr. Bayaceros here, who said, hey, there's a lot of good stuff going on in the community. How much help out? They can help us at Rotary and things like that. And so those terminals right there, you see right there behind you, are High Altitude Exploration Center. The one on your left is a real satellite tracking station. That's not fake. We have our FCC license to communicate with radio waves, radio frequencies with the International Space Station, and we did so all last year with schools in the community. The one to the right of that is their weather tracker. The one to the right of that is the solar panel array that powered everything up, and the one around the corner is a rocket launcher and a couple of things that we taught students how to integrate the science of altitude and aerodynamics and aviation and space flight into their regular lesson plan of why it's important and things that they want to do for the future, and just kind of getting that whole the ology of aeronautics, space travel, and how simple it can actually be without having to spend a lot of money. So we would say each one of these would be a giant tent that we take out to the schools, and there would be 5 or 6 tents that we bring in students, 30 at a time, and kind of rotate them through, go through the station, just do launch rockets and stuff. And ultimately we launch a cube satellite up into orbit. So each team of students, about 4 kids on a team, would create an experiment. Some want to create the different levels of UV radiation on different altitude levels up into space. It would hang for a little bit, come back down, and at about 3,000 feet, either open the parachute or create a very nice crater in Ocotillo Wells. So over a period of last year, we did this with several schools out in the Lemon Grove area and greater San Diego, actually, just to get the reach out there. And then this year, October 22nd, we are going to do another launch. It was so successful that just by the request of the community and the schools at large, to do it again this year. So when the school year begins in September, we're going to go back and teach them again, refresh, and how to program computer circuits and stuff to make their experiments and whatever they want to do this year. They're always different. They're always fun and crazy and zany. So October 22nd, Borrego Springs launch, craters in Ocotillo Wells, so that's that Rotary helped fund. That's one from last year's district grant that David very graciously helped me procure from La Mesa and Lemon Grove and Mr. Caston. But currently, currently, we started this, when we started this facility, we wanted to bring students here. And we did so for about 4 months, but it became overly evident that the transportation cost for these schools was an inhibitor of them continually being able to come. They usually get 1, maybe 2 field trips a year. Go to the zoo, go to, you don't come to learn it. We can take this for the same cost. Instead of doing 30 kids, we can do your entire grade level for the same cost. We just go to you. And so we start doing that, and then having teachers come here and learn how to implement these kind of programs in the classroom for inexpensive ways to do that. A lot of schools have $10,000, $40,000 robots, robot teams, science programs. Most schools in San Diego County or in the country in general couldn't even get near that. Of course, in the, you have the Hoyas and the, Francis Parkers and the whatnot, the sponsored schools certainly afford that, and they are doing very well, and you hear a lot of stuff about them. But what about the schools in South Bay? What about the other schools? So we offered a program that was similar in scope, teaches them all the same sensors, teaches them robotics, electronic, computer sciences, engineering, down to about 50 bucks. So now every student can get their hands on this. Because even those Francis Parkers and the big names, the 4 top seniors get to touch that robot. The whole team doesn't get to touch that robot, just the 4 top seniors do. And so even the people that have been on the team for a long time don't even get a look at it. So we didn't like that model, so we said, hey, you know what? We have a similar platform, it's much smaller there. And we approached Cox Communications and said, hey, we have a few teams that are interested, and would you be willing to help sponsor getting us out some more teams? So they gave us funding to develop 100 teams. And so we, this year from 2016, last semester, this semester, have about 150 teams now that are gonna be participating in the STEAM Maker Festival. So all of our programs that we do, we got sponsored by Alex Brown's doing entomology programs where they collect insects in their backyard and stuff, document, and then they showcase them. Students from the entomology program at UCSD come and be the judges. We have other engineering type programs that are all free to the community and schools that want to sign up and do that. So all our programs are based on an in-school program or an after-school program that is implemented by a teacher or a mentor throughout the semester, and then culminates at the STEAM Maker Festival to showcase what they've done, what they've learned, how they implement this in the classroom. That school themselves gets a booth to showcase their entire school's program at the festival, to say, hey, this is what we're doing, and kind of cross-pollinate ideas, and and that's how the scientific community grows. And so December 3rd is this year's STEAM Maker Festival at John Marr Fairgrounds. As we get closer, I'm sure I'll be talking much more about it. But since it's we're still in the summertime, nobody's thinking about December or winter or anything like that, so I'll wait. But we are now part of San Diego County Fair. We are the STEM program behind the county fair. So all their educational programs that happen next year as well, that will be us behind the scenes type stuff. June 14th is the Summer STEAM Maker Festival that they want to give us, that we did similar this year's, but we'll do again next year. A lot of cool stuff. One technological advancement that we see coming online, and a lot of things that we like to do is take inexpensive materials and do very high-tech equipment and very high-tech experiments and activities at a much reduced cost than the big people can the Googles and the Intels that they're paying millions of dollars for. We'll do it for a fraction of the cost. You'll see stuff coming up behind me. This is probably not part of my talk here, but I don't know if you can. I'll move it out just a little bit here. So this is a program that we wanted to establish. Normally, 5 stuff. This is probably going to cost about $25,000. And so, fraction. I mean, it sounds like a lot of money, but it's a fraction of what it would cost big companies to do. We've already done the testing on the accelerometers, on the visualization. We just needed the money for the equipment and the program to test it out and roll it out to places like our festival or SeaWorld, where a student who is hospitalized or otherwise could not leave the hospital, or they're incapable of walking, whatever it is, puts on virtual reality headgear. All right. In that headgear, there are XYZ accelerometers in there that tell them they're looking up, left, right. This looks left, right, up, and down. In their hand, they have a controller. Sorry, I'm going to do a curse what that is. All right. Our microchips that we test on. Move left, right, back, forward. Left, right, back, forward. There's sensors on it that tell not to bump into anything. So they can walk around SeaWorld, Disneyland, or whatever. We've already shot some footage at SeaWorld to demonstrate that. And right now, when Marna comes out with the gear, we'll show you what we shot. But basically, this is a prototype, but this screen will be much bigger, and you can see the person sitting in the hospital or wherever they are in the world. It doesn't have to be in a hospital bed. It could be somebody in Ecuador or somewhere.
So you're operating it wirelessly?
Wirelessly.
In a totally different location from where you're watching it on
Anywhere in the world.
Reality. Cool.
And with the goggles, and it's a light.
Right.
Yeah, so you can look around and see stuff, and people can interact with you. You can interact with them. Hi, I'm Susie. I'm in Ecuador, and I'm 9 years old, and whatever. And let's go look at the giraffes. I don't know. Okay? And
Well,
so,
they can also be in school.
or they can be in
class.
school or wherever. And so, to kind of do that. And so, it's one of the projects that we're working on. So we have it's the base of a wheelchair. So basically, we are now able to go anywhere ADA compliant. So pretty much anywhere is ADA compliant. So it fits. And of course it's a prototype and things like that. But as we get further along in funding, of course, we make it look cool, and whatnot. But it'll work. And so that's one project that we're looking for funding. The next big project that we have is with doing this. We kind of started tapping into the world of virtual reality, augmented reality. And so with the virtual reality world, the inhibiting factor is it's an isolation program. You put it on, you're separated from the rest of the world. If you're watching a movie, you can still hear your kids in the other room. You can hear a plate break. You can hear someone opening the door. In virtual reality, you're closed off. You can't hear that. You're in an environment. So it doesn't work in education in that manner. So what we decided to do was, okay, well, let's look for the program that says that other students can work together. And so we looked, and so we looked, and so we looked. It doesn't exist. Most virtual reality is designed for gaming and for movies or whatnot to set somebody apart from the world, separate them, and that never works in education. If I can. I'll try to log in my email real quick. But the same system that we're going to use. So I'll bring up some images right now. What we want to do is make an environment where a teacher or a docent can take students on a virtual field trip anywhere. So not just to take them to the Olympics or to Honduras or the Louvre, but how about inside of the human cell? How about inside an amoeba in the brain and a woolly mammoth's heart? dinosaurs. Okay, so let's look at the science behind these things and take them on a trip to do that. Starting off with, okay, let's first talk 15 minutes about what we're gonna do. Now let's take the next 15 minutes and put these headsets on. When the teacher is looking at the students, there's scanners in each one that show what location the student is looking at inside virtual reality. So we can say, oh, look at Susie's looking at the painting over there, Ted is looking at the statue over there, and it can say, hey, all right, so everybody look to your left, everybody look to your right. This is what this is how it's inside virtual reality. You can only go as fast as it's taking you in the video. There's nothing in there that says, okay, I want to stop and I want to look at the Mayan mask artifact. How do you look at that in virtual reality? You can't until now. So that machine back there is our 236 expansive space modulator. It's actually the explosive space modulator from Looney Tunes. You know the Marvin the Martian on the globe of the Earth, right? But the 236 explosive space. We just renamed it. So what that does is that allows us to photograph and video any object of any size and put it embedded within a virtual reality environment. So while you're in there, you can stop your video and say, oh, these things are able to, I can check them out. It'll come in front of you. You can look at it 360. Every student can look at it. Oh, that's, and manipulate it with a controller. Zoom in, zoom out, left, right, back, forward. I'm done looking at this. It goes back to where it is, and you can continue on your journey. So stuff like that doesn't exist. We're looking for it. We're in the business of taking things and blowing kids' minds with technology, doing stuff. In order to have that, we have to create it. Nobody has it, so we're looking for companies who want to invest in that kind of technology. I mean, in addition to education, commercial applications to, gosh, I mean, you name it. I mean, inside that environment, there's nothing you wouldn't be able to look at. All we gotta do is capture it for real. And it's not a 3D computer-generated version. It is the artifact. We took pictures and videos. So things that are like in the museums that are underneath the vaults are there, decaying for the rest of the time if it's not prudent for the museum curators to bring out to the museum floor to showcase, to generate revenue. All that stuff's decaying. How about we videography this stuff and keep it in a data-driven environment? So now, at any point in time in the history of the rest of, as long as humans are still around, we can pick that back up and embed it into another environment, put it in movies, put it in shows, put it in educational concept books, embed it into augmented reality, which is looking at goggles that put things in your environment, and doing stuff in 3D. A lot of movies were used as 2D type stuff. This stuff is 3D. I'll show you guys an example of what that looks like versus 2D. We created a rig that shoots 360-degree 3D video. Google Expeditions borrowed it with the help of a company we're working with, Virtual, and took it to Bermuda 2 weeks ago and shot some footage in the coral reefs over there for education. They want to do this stuff for their educational program. But even Google themselves are only doing still photography, very street view. It's street view for expeditions. There's no video, there's no embedded environment. They took all these pictures and stuff of the coral reefs, but I like that one. I want to know what that species is. How can I view that species? And that's where that comes in, or our system to embed that data into that environment so people can pull it up and look at these kind of things. And those kind of experiences allow students to retain that knowledge when they're actually immersed in the environment. It's like when you want to learn Spanish, you might want to move to Mexico or somewhere to learn the language, you know, they'd say, oh, immersion, same concept. That's the camera rig, the prototype up there, if you wanna see it there, that weird circle-looking thing, that octagonish looking thing, that's our prototype that we made. They still have it though, because we bring it from next week. There's some footage of that, what they shot later on. Gosh, if I could bring my email, I can show you some pictures. But who's seen virtual reality before? Who's experienced that before? A couple of you? Alright. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of money, so we have only one camera rig. But you know, after we say adjourn or whatnot, my partner will come out and we'll like show you what it looks like.
Cool.
There's two different types. There's 2D and there's 3D. We do 3D, and when you see the difference, because at SeaWorld, the footage is at SeaWorld and at the Wild Animal Park. Inside the cages, you know, not just out there. They're like, so the cheetah comes up to you like this, and you're in the tiger cage. When you see the tiger right there in front of you, turn around because there's a tiger like looking right at you right there. And so the way I guess the way it's viewed by your brain, you think you're there, and you watch when people like reach out for stuff and they kind of catch themselves. Oh wait, I'm not there, like that, or they kind of flinch a little bit. You know, when you watch movies and stuff, you know, you kind of get startled because things happen. Oh, it startled me. But when you watch a 3D version of this, like you think you're there. The suspension of disbelief goes away in about 3 seconds. When the shampoo splashes water over you, you know, you think you're gonna get splashed in water. Like, oh wait, I'm not there. And so things like that. So when we are having these rigs go up to the SeaWorld station, when they go up to Shamu, it cuts to the video where they're standing in the show. They're the ones who, you know, they call them volunteer. They're the ones standing in the show, kind of getting the seals throwing the balls over them and stuff like that. So, but these are the kind of projects that we are planning to bring out to education, not only like in the county, but ultimately across the world. We want to make sure that students who are reading the books, just like, you know, like, oh, it doesn't work anymore. We've become so technologically advanced, so complicated, that kind of education that we got when we were younger, it kind of got pounded into us. Like nowadays, they're not gonna stand for that. They get bored way too fast. If you're not in a 3D environment, if you're not doing something technologically fun, exciting, you've lost them. And if we can get them in elementary and middle school, by the time they get high school, they at least have a path of where they want to do or where they want to go. Anything beyond that, I mean, they've already made up their mind. So, yes.
You've hit the nail on the head so well. In medicine, the things I'm hearing about right now from our radiologists is that they're looking to find programs to teach med students anatomy with 3 dimensions. So you basically be totally immersed in the human body, and you could peel away the skin, you could drill right into the chest and look at the heart, the valves, and watch it on the blood flow. But I think you're absolutely on the track there. The immersion and education is definitely, it's the new way that we're going to be educating our kids in the next century.
It is.
It's really exciting stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And we want to be there and on the forefront of trying to make that happen. And unfortunately, right now, there isn't a lot of good content out there to do that.
Right.
You know, so.
Yep.
Yeah, that's us in a nutshell.
So any other questions or?
How is it accepted at the schools? Who do you contact? Do you contact the science teacher or the principal?
Both.
Decide to come in?
Yeah, and we're already embedded in the county school, so we already like know the people who integrate the science programs at every school.
Okay.
So anything that we provide, they're ready to
Okay.
consume it. So when we approach them, hey, we have this. Would you be interested if we develop this and this going on? 100% successful rate. Let's say people saying yes, whenever you have it, we'll take it, we'll pay for it, we'll do whatever. But it doesn't exist yet. And so it's kind of been something that like putting the cart before the horse. Like, okay, well, we need to like develop it. Well, who's going to help us develop it? And people are like, oh, once you develop it, we'll find money for you. It's like once we develop it, people will be knocking down our door.
Yeah.
Like I don't need your help then. I need your help now. Like to develop it. And so we already know that it's going to work. It's nothing new. We're not able to patent any of this stuff because we already know it works. It's just integrating it and putting it all together. And most major corporations don't have the bandwidth. As big as they are, they're just huge machines, and like they can't stop and turn and pivot when something happens. They either put the kibosh on the program itself, or they made the decision to do just still photography, Google, and go on that path. It's like, well, how about video? And once you're in video, how about integrated expansive space video to bring? I want to look at the keyboard backwards or forwards inside my VR environment. That doesn't exist. And so, you know, it is, yeah.
What do you guys need? Do you know how much money it's gonna cost?
Yeah, to develop.
People?
It's gonna cost our preliminary numbers about $250,000, which is nothing compared to what companies spend on.
And what does that get you?
That gets the computer software program. You know what? It gets the program.
So you guys are building the software natively yourselves, or?
Yep.
Okay. And does that also include hardware as well, Brian?
Hardware.
Stop asking questions all the time.
Yeah.
Some things are still old school,
Yeah.
right? That's our brain, that's still old
That's
school.
right.
Do one thing at a time.
Well, it never helps when people watch you type.
Yeah.
We're all watching. Right?
We gotta see if we can figure it out, that's right, yeah.
Yay.
There you go.
Nice. Alright, so I'm gonna, so that's, you know, left, right, up and down. So teacher, docent or whatnot, they're all connected so they all can see the environment. I wanna do anything from DNA strands, eyeballs to being NASCAR. You're in the seat in NASCAR driving, right? Okay, now let's go into the motor. Now we're going to see what's happening in the pistons and how fuel flows and why that's happening. And now let's go back into the seat in NASCAR. That's what's this is how you're turning like that. So we can talk about science of anything, the history of anything, just different things, underwater, space, museums, national parks, sporting events. So I'm gonna try to expand this real quick here. So the program is where you can be looking at, so Benjamin and Paul and all these people, so these numbers are where the student is looking. It's telling you exactly where the student is looking out there, and so this is complete 360 degrees. So this is behind you, that's in front of you. Behind you, in front of you. So if you were to wrap it around, it'd be like a circus sphere. So someone's looking at the roof, someone's looking at the floor, you know, just, okay, let's all look at here. This program does not exist anywhere on the planet. So we are developing this. This is the one that we're saying, okay, these are the kind of systems we need in a classroom environment, in a collaborative VR environment. Most VR, isolation, one person looking at something, even right now when we show you what we're showing you, everybody's gonna be sitting around looking at somebody looking at a VR headset, you know, and
Are you saying that two people can't interact at the same time, on the same level, at the same picture?
right.
That's not true?
No, you're thinking of augmented reality.
Oh.
So are you saying like inside, like where you're both in a room and there's an image here and you're both looking at this thing, kind of saying, okay, this and that. That's augmented reality because you're in the same room.
And you're
Virtually.
putting yours out,
Right, so,
out somewhere else?
right. So this, we're taking everybody somewhere. And so they both, all 30 kids or whatnot, can say, okay, we're all here and sound's pumped in and you know, we're talking to you right now. You're all, imagine you're all at the booth. You know, and so I can talk to you right now as we're talking now, but you're all looking at places and I can see see exactly where each of you are looking. That does not exist right now. But it can. Probably cost about $25,000 to build that out. Each headset itself is probably gonna cost about $1,500 to $2,000 each headset to build out. The first one is probably gonna cost about $5,000 to do the prototyping and get all the bugs out of it. But then each one, of course, mass produced, you know, China or whomever.
So Brian, a lot of companies will either focus on the hardware or the software. For example, Oculus Rift is a piece of hardware. Give me an idea where you guys fit in and what's the difference in the Oculus Rift hardware versus what you guys are trying to develop?
We're gonna use their hardware. We're gonna use their
Great.
thing. But the thing about the Oculus Rift
Yeah.
is that it runs off of a battery.
Sure.
You couldn't take a student, a whole, especially 30 of them, on a field trip every hour.
Right.
You know, for next class. You have to charge that thing up constantly.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
we're modifying them. So we're hacking the Oculus Rift.
Nice.
And
So you guys are gonna modify the existing hardware and then work on your own software.
yes. So we're not building new hardware. That is already done.
Sure,
That,
for sure.
and so far, everything that we've tested, the Oculus Rift is the best one. So thus far that we've experienced
Sure.
ourselves.
Sure.
What about connecting to a university that's doing robotics? Is that
Sure,
something that,
we're talking with them. In fact, tomorrow
Okay.
morning we're meeting with the university to talk about
Yeah.
stuff similar, just like this. Yeah.
Okay.
And so a lot of people are
does they
talking with
give
us.
you some free help, maybe? Yeah.
However it can get developed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I imagine once you build the hardware and the software, then the whole nother project is gonna be developing content.
The content.
A content
Yeah.
is-
And that's an unlimited
Yes.
endeavor right there.
Mm.
That's you could farm that out to millions of people.
Millions
Content.
of people.
Yeah.
So we have a business acquaintance of ours, Virtual, who actually went down to the Bermuda with the Google expeditions. They're the ones who we made the rig for.
Sure.
They'll be the content developer.
It has to be millions of people. If you want to get all the content in the world, I mean, really.
Mm.
Everyone
Yeah,
got
everyone has to do it, yeah.
So, I mean,
Mm.
at that point, it's unlimited. I mean, we can pull anybody's content and say, okay, let's embed these things into it.
Mhm.
So, gosh, once it's created, there's no, I mean, the next step from that is just augmented reality where you work in your room and do stuff. But that's, I mean, augmented reality now is like a factor of 10 steps above in cost and scope.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we're saying $25,000. I mean, it costs you about $2.5 million just to like develop something similar for augmented reality. So it's, you know, at the small scale. So we're already outpriced at that market thus far.
Which is a tip to Google.
Which is a tip to
Facebook.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And nothing, you know, but that's, you know, it's gotta start in somebody's garage. You know, these companies got, so why not this one? And so, we know we have know-how, we know what we're doing, we've been doing this. My background is aeronautical engineering, electrical engineering. I'm a lieutenant commander US Navy. I work for Space and Naval Warfare Systems in the Navy for unmanned systems. Gosh, we know this stuff with my business partner. He's a technologist, artist. He does the videography stuff. He does image compression technology. He does the rigging, coding. You know, so both of us combined.
It's just two of you?
It's the two of us.
In your free time.
In our free time, yeah. It's just the two of us. Yeah. And so doing all this stuff. I mean, we have employees who go out to schools and do the programs in schools. On occasion, I do that as well, but for the most part, that's employees. But that's their side to go out to schools and implement programs in schools. Other than that, it's two guys in a truck.
Okay, Brian, well,